I'm Dave here, and welcome back. And we are going to be working on my 1967 Pontiac GTO convertible today. We're going to do a disc brake conversion and then some tubular control arms and a set of coilovers from CPP and some Viking shocks. It's going to be pretty slick. I can't wait to drive this thing. A totally new front end. It's going to be rad. Now, I already did a little work up top. I had pulled the old master cylinder out and the linkage and the lines associated. I just unscrewed them. So first things first, we're going to pull these wheels off, and then I'll get the drums off, spindle, steering, all that disconnected, and get ready to put the new stuff on. These are year one 17-inch versions of the classic Pontiac Rally 2 wheel. They're all aluminum. Got them through jegs.com. Pretty slick setup. I really like the look of it. But as you'll see when I pull this wheel off, the four-wheel drum brakes are not cutting it, especially with all this additional rubber that I've added to this car. I just pulled the spindle nut off. I had already loosened it and pulled the cotter pin. Now my drum, I think I might have a spring busted in the front, or my brake shoes adjusted too tightly, because this drum will not come off. It is very tight. So I don't know what's going on there. I might just pull the whole spindle and steering knuckle off as one piece. Might be a little easier. Alright, you guys, I finally got this spindle off here. Had a little bit of time. I could not get the drum off for the life of me, so I figured I'd just pull the whole spindle off as one piece, just undo the tie rod end, ball joint, upper and lower ball joints, hammered them loose, no big deal. But the darn drum, it's still on the spindle, and I noticed the new kit doesn't come with the bracket for the tie rod end. So I've got to get that off somehow. As you can see, I pulled that old spindle apart, pulled the bracket off, cleaned it in my parts washer, and mounted it to the new spindle, installed that. Then we got the new rotor, all the bearings packed, greased, seal, caliper. I painted it red. We'll see. I kind of thought maybe the red would go good with the red pinstripe on the car, but I don't know. Red calipers are kind of overdone. But yeah, I got brake hose ran. I got to run the brake lines. I might end up finishing this tomorrow. I still have the whole other side to do, and master cylinder and the brake booster and proportioning valve, all that good stuff. But it's coming along okay, and hopefully we'll be driving this thing tomorrow. Alright, so we got the car in the other shop now. We already did the disc brake conversion on it. This was actually months prior we did that. So now we're going to get the front suspension tore apart, do the upper and lower control arms, and a set of coilovers on it. One thing I want to address with after I put these 17-inch Rally 2s from year one on it is it seems to sit a little nose high. So I think with the adjustability of these new coilover shocks, I should be able to lower it a hair. I don't want a crazy rake front and rear, but I'd really like to lower the ride height, probably about an inch in the front. You can see there's quite a bit of gap in between the tire and the wheel well there. Otherwise, I'm in love with these wheels. The disc brakes, they work great. So now let's get this suspension done, and next thing to do, let's get this bad boy up in the air. Alright, so I've had this disc brake conversion on for a few months now. I actually finished it up this spring. It's fall time now. Driven it all summer. It's been excellent. I really love these disc brakes. But now the downside is the stamped steel control arms and the bushings on the bottom ones. They're really wore out. I just rebuilt the uppers last year, so they're pretty good, but I wanted to go with all tubular setup and a little bit of a pro touring feel. And then the shocks and springs on this thing aren't too much better. You can see there's probably 50 years of grease and grime built up on everything. So what I went with, have some CPP springs here. Then some tubular control arms with Viking coilovers. You can see the coilover already mounted on this one. So should be a heck of an improvement. Alright, now I've already got the shocks out of the coil springs, and you can see I've got a ratchet strap strapped around the spring. I'm going to lower the car down, separate this lower ball joint here, and then hopefully the spring doesn't fly out and kill anybody. Then I can get this control arm dropped and get it all installed. Oh, there, finally separated. Okay, so you can see lower ball joint is separated. Coil spring is just barely held on there with that ratchet. Should be loose in its pocket up top. I'm going to undo the control arm, get this thing out of here. Alright, so while the control arms are out of the way, I've been in here cleaning the inside of the front cross member off. A little hard to see, but inside there it is plugged from side to side. And then the amount of grease underneath this thing is unbelievable. So I think I'm going to bring the pressure washer out, pressure wash this. That's all from inside of the frame. I'll get this thing cleaned up before I go any further. Alright guys, I got the old control arm out and I already have the new one kind of installed here. I got it set into the pocket, greased, bolted up, but just kind of hanging there. I got the coilover bolted to the control arm as well. Now I've got to apply a lot of anti-seize to these threads on the coilover body. I don't want any galling or seizing up. And then get everything set on here, the spring set up, and then try to slide this baby in. So control arm's installed, coilover's installed, springs on it. I still have to dial in the ride height, but now we're going to work on the upper control arm, get that on. I still have to tighten everything up, and then I still have to do the whole other side. But I already set it on the ground once I got the coilover in, just to kind of get a peek at the ride height, and it looks way better, at least on this side. And it's just, now it's kind of a leaning tower of pizza here. But pizza, not pizza. But I'm going to work on this control arm. Let's show you guys what I got going on right now. There's a nice tubular control arm. There's the coilover. It's installed. There's anti-seize all over the place. I have to get my sway bar link on. Then get this ugly stamped steel factory arm out with the tubular upper, and driver's side will be all buttoned up. Alright, so here we are. It's about a month and a half later. We ended up getting some snow in early October here in Wisconsin, so didn't really get to do much testing on the car, but got the car all buttoned together a month and a half ago, and here's how she looks. I'll show you guys around. There it is. It's about 1.5 inches lower, and I've already driven it, and it drives spectacular. There's the tubular uppers. Now I'm noticing a little bit of contact right there with the inner fender well, so I might have to trim that a little bit. So it's about level right now. I could lower it maybe even a little bit, but I think I want to do coilovers in the rear too. So, but I'm really happy with it. Now let's go for a drive and see how it drives. driving, first thing I'm noticing, it's a little bit stiffer, but I tell you, it's not unpleasant. It just feels more controlled. The old suspension was really floaty. It was like a land yacht, which is not a bad thing. The ride was incredible, but now it feels more like a modern car. Now the gearbox on this thing, it's still the original, so there's some slop in it. It's not as tight as you would think, but I can always upgrade that. All we did was coilovers and tubular control arms, so nothing other than that. We go into our first corner here. Oh my God, it is so stable. I've got a 2004 Cadillac CTSV, which is a really well handling sedan. Quite a bit smaller than this. This thing, it feels almost on that level. Probably not as good. The rear suspension you can still feel is a little squirrely, and it is a live rear axle, so I'm a little nervous taking. The corner I just took was a little greasy and gravelly, so I didn't want to really throw it through too hard. But from a drivability standpoint, this is incredible. So really happy with this. And I can't really convey it over video, but I try. And yeah, this is awesome. And I adjusted my clutch, so my shifter's my clutch action's a little bit better on this thing now. Alright guys, that'll kind of conclude our little video for now. Hopefully that kind of showed you a little bit of a glimpse. It wasn't a how-to, but a little bit of a glimpse on how it is to do coilovers and control arms if you are doing that. And I can say 100% well worth it. Great upgrade. I have these dialed in really low on the soft side, so who knows what it'll do if I firm them up. They're adjustable on both compression and rebound. So I'm going to leave them like they are. I'm really happy with the handling. I think next a steering gearbox would be a great upgrade. Very happy. Can't say enough good things about it. So hope you liked what you saw. If you did, please subscribe or like, share. Every little bit helps. So I thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you on the flip side.